Okay, so here we go. Why Kara's story is a disappointment. Full disclosure, I like Detroit Become Human. This criticism is in no way a refutation of the game's story or the talent that created it. However, the twist at the end of Kara's story is a disappointment, and I'll be discussing why I believe the choice was made and how it could have been much more thought-provoking. Obviously, this video will include spoilers, so here we go. Kara's story follows an android trying to protect her ward Alice from an abusive father. They run away together. While Kara poses as Alice's mother to fool humans as they try to escape danger, she begins to take on the role of being her mother. At the end of the story, it's revealed that Alice is an android as well. This was a threefold disappointment for me. 1, because this is the safe choice. 2, because their relationship could have been more interesting with Alice being human. And 3, it lessens the impact of Kara's story in totality. Alice being an android is the safest twist because it explains why you don't need to empathize with her pain in earlier scenes in the game. For example, Alice is slapped by her father in the opening section of Kara's story. We can now look back at that scene and say, don't worry, she couldn't feel the pain anyway, and therefore, it doesn't matter. This mutes the controversy and criticism of depicting domestic violence in video games, but it also mutes the conversation around domestic abuse simultaneously. In many ways, the suffering of both Kara and Alice are discounted by making them both androids. Without Alice being human, the stakes are completely changed. The narrative choice feels like it was made by a focus group instead of being an artistic choice. If Alice would have been human, this tale would have been much more thought-provoking. At the heart of Kara and Alice's story is an examination of what it means to be a part of a family. How can the love and care for someone else motivate you to do what's necessary to keep them safe? Can an android care for a human like a mother would for their child? If Alice were human, it would also raise interesting thoughts about what their relationship would become in the future, after the credits rolled on Detroit Become Human. What would Alice do if Kara needed repairs, but her model was obsolete? What links would she have to go through to find what her mother needed to stay with her? What would Kara do as a parent once Alice became of age? How could an android empathize with an adolescent Alice, experiencing her first loves and losses? Would Alice eventually reject Kara, since she wasn't human, as she grew more mature? Could the two face discrimination because of their relationship? Also, androids don't get old or sick, or even die. So, would Kara eventually have to help Alice in her old age? Could Kara have to help Alice pass? How could an android deal with the fact that eventually, the people they love would die? By making Alice an android, we don't get to ask ourselves any of these questions, and this is my final issue with the twist. By making Alice an android, we don't have to examine what the nature and boundaries of love are. For example, the movie Loving, which is based on a true story. It's about an interracial couple who got married in the 1960s, which was against Virginia law at the time. Their names were Mildred and Richard Loving. The two were sentenced to a year in prison for marrying each other, and they eventually had their sentence overturned by the Supreme Court. It was concluded that the law was unconstitutional and the Lovings lived the rest of their lives together. Now imagine if the twist at the end of the film Loving was that in fact, Mildred Loving was Caucasian the whole time. That would significantly lessen the impact of the message that love triumphs all. I'm sure Quantic Dream and David Cage had their reasons for this choice, but Kara's story could have challenged our perceptions of what the core of family truly is. Instead, it only gives the publisher an out for why the controversy was overblown. This is Zach with Tanuki Games. I'd like to thank you for watching my video. Please remember that a like, a comment, or a subscribe means a lot to me, and of course, the channel. Enjoy.